Hello everyone and welcome. Today I want to share with you my Yummy-Fiendsmith deck, and I want to also share my thoughts why I do believe that this is one of the strongest meta contenders and why the deck is not as dead as people think it is. So first things first, I want to start with the deck profile actually and share with you what I played and why I play it. We do play 3 copies of Marshmallow, of course. You need also 2 cookies to Lollipop, and then the limited Kapsiyami. And then I also play 3 copies of Periodize Map. Most people think that because of the Periodize Map, we are weaker to draw, which is a little bit over exaggerated. What I mean by that? Okay, I will add with the periodize map the capsule, and then you will draw me. At this point, I have already gained one of my opponent's cards. Okay, so they have 4 cards right now, and I don't have the surprise, which is fine. Then I need to proceed to make my minimal Yummy board with the control base. That's what I call it, because we go for the Snazzy, the field spell, and then we go back for the Kapsiyami. If I have more in my hand, we can go to some other lines, but at the most minimal would be that and the Kapsi. And then I still tank the hand traps with relative ease. So what I lose is the surprise. But at the end of the day, starting with any other than the Kapsi, I will also get rolled and not have the surprise in my hand because I would go for my Kapsi Synchro and get this and then get rolled. So it's pretty much the same, and I make the same minimal board. So yes, it does hurt the draw. I don't get the surprise, but at the end of the day, we do the same thing that we always did. Now for the most notorious part of the deck, we play only 2 engravers, 1 Lacrima, 1 Lurie, and 1 Tract. This is a minimal bundle because I don't want to get forward on any of those guys. I want to play a control Yami deck, and then if my opponent has nothing, or if I tank the hand traps correctly, I can go to my plays, Reproducus, and then go to my Fiendsmith line, or even if I have it in my hand, I can start my plays with Engraver, Tract, or even Lacrima. Next, we play the field spells. I do think it's necessary to run both because this provides you with enough removal for the deck, another interruption, and then the surprise, of course, it's a pretty good card. Now, everything else in the deck is hand traps. So these are all your 1-card combos. Everything leads to the same outcome if uninterrupted. And then these are your extensions, slash, you can call them bricks as well. And then we play the hand traps, which are 3 copies of Fugados, of course, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 3 copies of Ghost Bell, 3 copies of Effect Veiler, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, 3 copies of Dominus Purge, one of my favorite cards. And then this would be the most flexible spot, would be Dominus Spark. It's a great card, but it does not what all these, except you, all these cards do. This is just removal. It's a great card if I combine it with like 2 or 3 or more. So this would be the most flexible spot. You can go with draws and a call buy, or draws and prosperity for having 1 more starter. But I think this line is perfect because we do have so many hand traps, and the idea of the deck is playing the first turn as much controlled as possible, because on the first turn I will get the Fugad, I will get the draws, I will get everything. I need to tank everything in the first turn. So basically, I want to control the board in the first turn, and the second turn, when my opponent plays, I want to be able to use a pop, use a second pop, maybe a banish or a shuffle. I need to draw if I haven't already searched, maybe search, and depending on the situation, go to my synchro, get more stuff in my hand, and then on the third turn after that, if I have survived, I will go to my Fiendsmith, and of course the second turn also I will have some hand traps. So basically that's why I will play the most controlled version. I play like so many hand traps, it's ridiculous. This is more than the end. So this is the main deck. Now let's see what I'm playing in the extra deck. I think most of these are mandatory. So I'm playing one Snatchy. Sorry, I have this a little mixed up. The second Snatchy. The third Snatchy, Almirez. Gravity controller to bridge the Fiendsmith. It's not ideal because it's pretty vulnerable, but if your opponent has nothing, this is a great way to go to your Yummies. And most of the times you need it. Then we play the one link spider. If we get nipped, this is one of the most flexible spots, but I think it's something that brings value. Docus, SP Knight, sequence, the link wants the Requiem. Then for the Xyz we play the one Caesar, Lacrima, Desiree, and the Synchros. So basically I think everything is mandatory. Of course these are mandatory, these are mandatory, this is mandatory, these of course are mandatory, and now you are with 3 flex spots. This is a card that in critical moments will help you, so that's why I think it's good. This is also a card that brings value if you open only Fiendsmith, and that is what makes every single one of my starters a one card combo to everything. So basically this and this make the main deck what it is essentially, and then this would be your most flexible spot. If I get nipped, I want to have a backup, but not many people play nib, and you might not also need it. If you play around nib correctly, you don't need that much, but still I like to play it. And I don't think I have anything more valuable than this one. You could argue with Typhon, but I don't think Typhon is that much important, or more important than this one, so basically I should play this one. Now for the side deck, this is mostly optional and depending on your locals and the event that you are attending, but to get an idea, I do play 3 cups of Purulia because this will help me go to my many hand traps, so I will stop my opponent eventually. To draw for the heavy adders, and then I'm playing some removal. I do like playing Duster and Lightning Storms to remove the back row, because most of the time, and at this meta, you will have Fallen Virtues, you will have Super Volley, so many removals that I want my Yummies and my Fiendsmith to stick on the board and make link plays with them. So basically removing the back row is fantastic for me. If they have Super Poly, they might have some imprints, some purges, some maybe impulses sometimes. And then for going first, I do have all the churches here. Judgment, 3 accusation, and 3 warnings. If I had more space, be sure I would play 3 strikes, but I think this is the best at this point. This removes everything. This is great against board breakers because it's also not one for them, and it removes anything that they might throw at you except Super Poly. You don't need to worry for anything else. Maybe Droplet if they have a trap, but still. And then warnings to remove everything that my opponent plays. So this is good against Mitchell, this is good against Kill Tune when normal summon goodbye. Yeah. So that is my deck and how I play Yummy-Fiendsmith. The deck is definitely not dead. The deck is highly competitive. If you play it correctly, you play your interruptions correctly, It's a really good deck, and what I like about this specific deck is that we get so many bodies on board. I can make so many plays and have so many options, which is insane. With one card, you can go to everything. On the kill tunes, on the other hand, you need to tank hand traps in a different way that I don't like. So I'll use more resources for my hand. And in this, I can normal summon Capsy, get Imperm, fine. I will go to my Snatchy, Snatchy will deal, and I have 2 bodies again. And then I do Lollipop, and I have 3 bodies, and then I go to Fiendsmith. It's kind of insane. And I can even go to Capsy, of course. Didn't even mention that, get more bodies. And it's a really good deck. Even though it's hit to the ground, we have 1 Snatchy, no Herald, 1 Capsy, one of the Synchro Capsies, which is the most devastating hit of all, and it still plays. Basically, I don't think the Capset one did anything, the main deck, uh, because with 3 maps it solves everything. I could even go with Strikers, but I don't want to contradict with my purge, so basically 3 maps are fine. I will sacrifice half my life points on main phase 1, at the start of main phase 1 of course, and get my caps. If you don't have draw, which is semi-limited, I will keep making my plays, I will never summon it and go from there. It has potential. There are like, let's see, 3, 9, so many. So basically, everything here, see, all of these are 1 card combos. Okay, everything leads to everything, all of them. Yeah, so basically we have 16 one card combos. Everything leads to the same outcome. Interruptions are a different thing, but we do have so much consistency. You can even have more consistency if you want. You can add prosperity instead of the spark. Yeah, and add 2 draws depending on your locals and the events that you're attending and what you expect in the format. But we can play more starters. I just choose the 16. I think it's a great percentage to open at least 1 card combo, at least one card combo, and then you proceed with that. So yeah, these are the weaker 1 card combos, of course, because if you get forward, you need to stop, of course. But everything else, that's why I give so much attention to the Yummy engine. Everything else under four you can play, under draw you can play, but this is a little bit weaker. But if it's uninterrupted, you can still make it work. But this times more hand traps, so that's why we play like that, and not like you could argue you could go with 3 engravers, 3 tracks, and it would be fine. But you need to go uninterrupted. So I built this deck to tank the hand traps and push for damage and have a controlled based environment and match. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.